Excited for today's guest because I'm going to explain right now, but let me introduce her and kind of give her a little nice intro. We have the beautiful, gorgeous little Libra friend, twin, Daisy Marquez.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm generally so happy, and I want to tell you something, and I don't know if I've told you. Maybe I told you drunk at Karen and Sebas' wedding.
Dude, I was so drunk.
I was like,
it was so much fun.
But Daisy, okay.
Wow.
Aside from the fact that I obviously love you, I've loved your content from like a long time ago, like, you know, huge supporter here. But I've always prayed for you.
Really?
Like, I've seen you at events and I've seen you as a person, and we were never like close.
I'm already gonna cry.
But I always felt like, I don't know, like I wanted to be close to you, but I'm like, I'm just going to pray for her, like quietly. And like, whenever she's ready, like we could talk or whatever. So like this happening right now is kind of like a full circle moment for me where it's like, wow, okay, God is really like answering prayers. And I say that because there was like one event we were at, and we can cut it out if you want, but there was one event where, you know, we were drinking, everybody was drinking. It was an influencer, makeup collab or whatever. And everyone was drinking, and all your friends left you out of nowhere. And I'm like,
wait, oh my God, where was this?
It was at the Tres Luce party.
Oh my God. You know what? That was the most traumatizing night of my life.
And I was like, I remember talking to you. I'm like, okay, she's by herself.
I blacked out. I literally don't. I was so blacked out that day. I do not.
And I think that was before you moved back to Texas. I think. I'm maybe the timing's wrong, or you had moved and then you came back like I was like frequently.
Oh my God, this is about to get dark so fast. Hold on. So I think I remember that night because this club that I love was just opening back up after COVID. So I think I was in Texas and I came in for that event. You know what's so crazy? I do not remember anything from that night. I just remember being at the Tres Luce event. And then I remember being at the club with the whole different outfit. And I'm like,
how did this happen?
I was like, how did I get here? Where are my friends? And then I wake up. Oh my God, this is going to get a little bit dark. So after that, I then woke up in a random hotel with nothing, no clothes, no clothes. I had no phone, no shoes. And I just had this bodysuit, and I was crying on the floor.
Yeah.
And the security guard was like, your mom's coming. And I'm so confused, Jenicka. Like,
and your mom's in Texas?
No, she was in, thank God, like, Diosito, like, it's so crazy how the way that things work, because she was there on like a honeymoon vacation. She was like in Malibu or something. And the security guard from the hotel had called my mom saying that I had been roofied. And so then after like that, everything was like in flashes, and I wake up the next day and my mom was like so disappointed in me. She's like, what did you do? Like, I thought you were just going to the event. And I'm like, Mom, I have no idea what happened. I know that I got super drunk at the Tres Luce event, but then when I went to the club is when I got roofied.
Yeah.
And you will not believe what happened. I then went to take a shower, and I took off my bodysuit, and I had hickeys all over my body. Oh my God. And I remember I was like so disgusted, and I just felt so like broken. And I was like, oh my God, like what happened? So then I reached out to the security guy, and I'm like, hey, like, it's the girl from last night. Like, do you know what happened? He's like, hey, he's like, I knew something was wrong. He's like, because I heard someone screaming. So he said that he came out and he saw me getting out of a van, and I was screaming, saying, help me. Oh, no, it wasn't even a van. It was a Maserati. I don't even know what kind of car that is. And he said that 3 guys came out, and they grabbed me and they threw me back in the car. And then that I was somehow able to escape again. And I ran to the security, and I told him, help me, like those guys just assaulted me. And that they tried to pretend, saying that they were my older brothers, and that the security guard threatened to call the cops. And they were like, unless you guys have identification that you guys know her, like, I'm not letting her go. And he said, I'm like shaking, I've never talked about this. He said that the car was just like on the side of the building waiting for me to get out. And then that's whenever my mom came, and then I went to go get tested, and like it came back like positive. And I was just like in shock, because I thought that never would have happened to me. But my mom was always telling me, like, you need to stop getting drunk like that, to where you don't know what you're doing and stuff. And I learned my lesson. You know what I think is so crazy? My way of taking, because I feel like they took a part of me.
Yeah.
And I think my way of taking control of the situation, I went back to that same club that same night. I don't know, like, and everybody in LA found out because I asked the club, like, can I get the security footage? Like, I want to know who those guys were. Like, I could be standing at a club next to them and I wouldn't even know, right? Yeah. And nobody wanted to help me.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to get involved. That club is very popular. And I just felt so defeated. And so I was like, you know what? I think the only way that I can take control back is by not being afraid to go back into that club. And the next day I went back into the club. And I don't even, like, I just look back at it and I'm like, Daisy, what the fuck? Like, it was just, I think in that time of my life, I was still so like lost, I guess you could say.
And I don't want it to come off rude or disrespectful, but I felt that.
Yeah, like,
where it's like, but maybe that's just me as a person where it's like
I think you're an empath, no?
I kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's a Libra thing because I'm a Libra too, where I'm just like, something's wrong. And I remember DMing you that night. I'm like, hey, did you make it home? Like, because you were waiting for your Uber. And I didn't want to leave until you got in your Uber. And I'm like, you guys,
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
No, now that you tell me this, I'm like, I should have fucking followed you. But it's like, I knew, and I'm like, I know when the time is right for like something like this to happen, for us to be able to have a conversation, and like, it's obviously something vulnerable, and I appreciate you being so open about it because it's scary, but there's something like, wow, like the whole point of the podcast is to kind of like understand you, and I feel like over the time of your career, you've been very misunderstood. I think, and kind of judged because you were like in the beginning, we were in the beginning era.
Yeah, I just, and I guess I think that's why I even wanted to come on here. And I told you, I was like, I only feel comfortable talking to you because I don't know, you're just so warm and your energy is so inviting that I immediately just felt connected to you. Even when we were talking at Karen's wedding, I'm like, oh my God, like I really love her. But I honestly feel like I just have been, has been such a long journey of trying to find myself. And I think because I try to pride myself in being independent and not needing anyone's help, like I think I shot myself in the foot like that by trying to be so independent, because then I ended up really just losing myself. And I had been fighting my demons for so long. Yeah. Like I think alcohol was just a way of me like escaping it, or like,
it is, and it's a LA. Like you live in LA.
It just after my relationship that was like public, that it had ended, the way that relationship ended, it just really changed me. I feel like I had such a good heart, and then it turned my heart black, and I kind of just shut myself down and I numbed myself. And I think the way of escaping that numbness or just making myself more numb was like alcohol. And I made it a goal of my year in 2024 to give up alcohol. And even some part of me was like, I wonder if my friends are even still going to want to hang around me if I'm not drinking, because I'm known as like the party girl, wild, and I'm fun, and you know, people invite me, and now I'm just like, wow, like it's really going to show me who is really going to be there for me and who isn't. But I definitely think I have been misunderstood, but I don't know, to some people, they see me as like such a bad person, but I'm genuinely not. I think I just grew up on the internet and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. Like I've learned a lot, and I have, you know, I have worked really, really hard to be the person that I am today. And I sought medical help, and I was going to therapy, and nobody even knew, but I was on so many heavy medications for depression, anxiety, and other things that I don't think I'm comfortable enough to tell the public about yet. But that also, oh my God, like
messes you up.
It messes you up so bad. Have you ever been on?
I've never, but I've been, but because, not that I don't want to, I just feel like I don't want to be dependent on it either.
Yeah.
I
think, and I remember my therapist being like, well, we're going to put you on all these, my psychiatrist, he was like, we're going to put you on these medications because you're feeling too many emotions, so we're going to numb you. And I was like, okay,
that doesn't make sense.
It didn't. And at the time I was like, okay, but then now that I'm like, I don't take any medications, I'm like, when I stopped the medications, all those feelings came back.
Yeah.
So I just quit cold turkey one day, all the medications.
Good.
I think it's when I moved back to Texas. I was like, okay, like I'm just going to deal with my emotions and feel them and let myself, I'm just going to let go, you know? And after that, I just really started, I'm a very spiritual person. So are you
I feel
spiritual?
like, yeah.
Yeah. And then I started to really get into, you know, healing books and meditation. And that's something
Like the
that,
core of it.
yeah, and that's something that really helped me to balance my chakras. And I really, really dig deep, and I started to do shadow work and try to heal my inner child. I feel like a lot of my wounds stem from my childhood, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that a lot of their wounds.
And I feel, and it seems like kind of silly to people, and it's hard to explain it to someone that kind of doesn't see it.
That doesn't understand.
That doesn't understand. And it's like, literally, we are who we are because of who our parents were, or how we were raised, or certain situation. It's real. There's things what's like affects you and creates you as the person you are today, and you carry it on. Like, it's better to handle the battle now, you as a person, before you take it on if you have kids or get married.
That is so true. You know, and this is something that I had to teach myself. So you growing up, you are given this blueprint that the way your parents raised you, society, school, and you grew up with this blueprint thinking that this is the blueprint that you have to follow for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I grew up thinking that I was, you know, incapable of love, that I had really bad abandonment issues. So anytime someone would try to leave me, it would like trigger me really bad. And so I grew up thinking that everyone that I loved was going to leave me. So then I would leave them first. And it was like a domino effect. So then one day, I think once I got tired of like my own bullshit, I was like, okay, I'm completely going to rewrite my blueprint, and I'm going to start from zero.
Yeah.
So I no longer blamed my father for not being able to, you know, be affectionate and show me love, because he wasn't shown that.
Yeah.
So how am I going to blame him, you know? So then I started to just love myself and show myself love. And I think that that's a way that I was able to heal from that. And I even tell my sisters now, you know, because my dad's still the same and he's not affectionate with them. And I told him, I was like, look, you can be affectionate with yourself. Like, I'm here for you guys. Like, you guys don't have to believe that all men are not affectionate.
Yes.
Like, so I think rewiring your brain and, you know, creating the environment that you want and not believing the blueprint really is something that will help
And
a
it's
lot of
like,
people.
you don't have to follow it, like, or feel guilty. And I feel like that's what a lot of people feel. Like, in this case about your dad, it's like, you could still love him and he could still love you, but it's a different type of love.
Yeah, it's like from a distance.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I think he loves me. I don't know.
No, I'm sure he loves you, but like, it's like, for you as a person, what makes you feel good, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I understand how you are, and I'm going to satisfy myself by pleasing and loving myself. And what you do amazing at, you go on these trips.
Thank you.
You're happy. You look so good, Daisy. Like, you look amazing. And like, I literally look back, and like, when you were in like that relationship, and now that you talk about abandonment issues or whatever, like, from when you guys broke up, or, you know, that's when everything kind of went dark, you mentioned.
Yeah, I think, and by the way, I'm already emotional because they don't know that, because I lost my dog. So I've been crying for the past few days. That's why I'm super emotional. It's also full moon in Cancer, moon's in Cancer. But I think I think that relationship is like the only public relationship that I've ever really had. So when that ended, everybody kind of questioned as to why it ended. And even up to this day, I don't think it's fair that people still throw that in my face just because it's like, I'm over it. Like, let it go. Like, please, like, I'm constantly like being reminded of it. And, you know, the way that relationship ended really affected me mentally in a bad way. And I changed that. And everyone's like, oh, Daisy changed. I did change. I changed, and not in a good way, because I was hurt. I felt like I was just like betrayed, and I was alone in LA, and I could have gone back with my family. I could have reached out, but I didn't. I isolated myself, and I completely spiraled. I then got introduced to the Hollywood scene, and I started partying, and like, I got so invested in that lifestyle, and it completely changed me. And it almost felt like I was living like a double life, because when the camera was on and I was on YouTube, and I was so like posh back then on YouTube. And I remember like I wouldn't even flick off the camera or cuss or anything. But then behind the camera, I was like this wild child, and I was running around Hollywood like partying and doing all these crazy things. And I think that really fucked me up, just living this like double life. And somewhere in between, the line got crossed, and then I think everybody was able to see that it was like just that I just wasn't the same Daisy. Sure. And I think after I moved to Texas, though, I was able to just really find myself again. I'm very happy with the person that I am today. Like, I have made a lot of mistakes, you know, and I have taken the time to learn from them and grow from them. And I think, I mean, I'm not perfect, you know. I don't think anyone is perfect, and all I can do is just try to better myself. And I think I've gotten better at learning how to control my emotions and just being around a really good environment with good people like you.
But you're single? You've been single since then?
Since
that relationship?
Wait, are you talking about what relationship?
I don't know.
Wait, are we talking about the same one?
Okay, you're single right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Single. Wait, but what relationship are you talking about? Are you talking about the very first?
I guess the very first. Yeah, the very first one. Have you been like? But you've been dating and
I've been in 3 serious relationships since I've been here, which was the first one, and then I dated someone for like 2 months. I wouldn't really say that, and you know, and then the very last one, I've been single since that one, which is 2019. That one traumatized me just really bad that I never wanted to. Not that I've learned now that I can't close myself off to love. But I think the reason why I've been single for so long is because I've worked so hard that I don't want to just let anybody in and ruin my peace, because I think when you're in a toxic relationship, like it's so hard to get out of it.
Independent.
And like, I used to always depend on men for love and for happiness. And I think now that I've learned how to depend on myself for happiness, it's like, okay, then I can only want a man. I don't need a man. Yes. But I mean, the right person will come, I guess. Like, I've been single since 2019.
That's good for you, though.
What about you?
I'm single, babe.
Since when?
Well, I've been single since 2020, 2021. 3-4 years. I'm happy. I'm content.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the same page where it's like, I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
I'm not looking. I mean, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Love can come. Love can be here. I have a lot on my plate. And I always say this, like, I have a lot on my plate. Are you going to be able to fit there without messing everything else up?
Like, are you going to come and add to my table and not take away or disturb anything on my table?
So, and then, you know, dating, like, I as an influencer or social media, like, it's really complicated. And it's do you ever think that some men have tried to date you because of who your family is? Yes, of course.
How has that like affected you?
It's hard though. And that's where my trust issues come in, but it's not because of men in general. It's because of like everybody around. It's kind of, and in my lifestyle is very hard to understand. Like, there's always something going on. Yeah. Like, people don't get in, and I come off intimidating, and a lot of men can't handle that.
It's because you need somebody at the same level or like higher.
Exactly.
Like,
so, you know, we're happy out here. We're living life.
That's nice. ¿No te ha salido like a pretendiente or something?
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
Yes.
What?
I'm very careful. Like, I don't look through my DMs. I don't.
What?
But it's like, if I do, and it's like a lot of old, like, weird guys. Like, okay. But have you gotten that message, like, on your DMs, like, be my sugar baby? We don't have to have sex or nothing? Like, no.
Really?
I've gotten like so many of those, and I'm like
men trying to be your sugar babies?
No, men trying to be trying to be them, like their sugar baby.
Oh, you be their sugar baby. Oh.
I'm like, that sounds tempting, but
girl, where are you finding these men? Because no men have asked me to be their sugar baby. They've asked me to be their sugar mama.
Oh.
So I'm like, no. Like, what the fuck? No.
Okay, we're gonna go on a quick break, and then we're gonna come right back in. Okay. All right, so we'll be right back, guys. All right, you guys, welcome back. We have the gorgeous Daisy Marquez with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just lay it out there. You started your podcast. Congrats to you.
Thank you so much.
So happy for you. I love Daisy Diaries. I feel like it's very truthful to who you are. And I feel you've always had like Daisy Diaries, right?
Yeah.
You had like the Instagram, I think.
Yeah,
Or
I've had the Instagram, and that it kind of was like a Finsta.
Yeah.
And I'm just not good on, I get very anxious when I go on live. So there I feel very comfortable. And I would tell like my story times, or when I would go on dates, like I would update my girls on there. And so it was very intimate, and people would always be like, we miss your story times. But I'm like, I don't feel like sitting down and just doing story times. I'm like, I actually want a platform where I can sit down and talk. So that's why I wanted to come out with the podcast. So it can feel just like a very intimate, kind of like this, just like girl talk.
Like where you feel like, okay, like just talking.
Yeah.
How is it going? How do you feel with it? Like, is it what you expected?
Yes, and I just feel like, I don't know. I think I'm more scared to invite people on to.
It's nerve-wracking.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what if they tell me no? Or
yes.
So that's why I wanted to start off with my sisters, because I'm super comfortable with them. And they wanted to be a part of it, and I did film some other episodes with them, and they seem to love it. So maybe it'll end up turning out to be like something with them. But yeah, or maybe you can come on there as well.
Yes, you tell me when.
And then it'll be my turn to ask you questions.
Yes, please. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about one of the episodes, and I want to respect you and honor you for your vulnerability and being so open, because what you said was very again, respectable. Like it's like it takes a lot of I guess balls. I don't want to say ovaries because it takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of balls to say what you had to say with what you were going through, and it's like, as a person, a lot of people do not have that same mentality to be able to be like, okay, this is my truth. Yeah. This is what it is. And even it's like, were you scared for people not to like you though?
I feel like
when you thought about it?
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the career, when everything was like taking off, I was so scared of like fucking up my reputation. Yeah. And I think now it's just like, if you are so focused on your reputation, you're literally going to lose yourself. Like I think I was mostly scared of what people were going to think about me, because I was such a people pleaser and I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And in the end, I ended up disappointing myself and, the people around me and the people that had watched that video. And so I think once, that happened, and I'm so glad that I didn't address it at the time, because I was so immature. I was so insecure. I was so naive. I probably would have just like reacted out of emotion and been like, oh my God, you guys, please. Like I wouldn't have handled it the way I should have. And so I'm very glad that, I addressed it now at this version that I am of myself. And I think now, like, I know I'm not a bad person. I know that I can go to sleep at night in peace, because I know that I do have a good heart, and I just happen to make a really bad mistake, and I'm genuinely so sorry. And I know that some people are going to be able to see that. Some people are going to forgive me. Some people aren't. But I had to learn that I can't satisfy everyone. I have one life, and regardless if you're doing good, somebody out there is going to think you're doing bad.
Of course.
You can't live your life trying to please others, because you are going to end up overthinking everything and killing yourself in the end. And it had gotten to a point where I literally wanted to, end my life, because I just couldn't take the hate that I would get on social media.
It's like a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. It's just like, I feel like you would understand that, like, at the end of the day, we are all human beings, and I just think when it's a lot of hate in immense amounts, it just is very suffocating. And you think that at the time, I remember, because now like you can throw sticks and stones and you will not break me. Like I am so secure in myself now, and I don't even care about what anyone has to say about me, because I'm so good within myself. But I think back then, like, I believed everything that everyone would say about me. And so I was so scared to come out and be truthful. So I just waited and waited and waited. And I remember even at some points I wanted to come out, and my team at the time was like, no, you're going to ruin your reputation. This brand's not going to want to work with you. And then it got to a point where I have a different team now.
Yeah.
Because I remember they asked me like, what are your goals of this year? And I was like, look, I want to tell my truth. I want to finally close that chapter of my life. And they were like, no. And I was like, you guys are not listening to me. And they're like,
But why would they say no? Like,
they kept telling me no because of my reputation. They were like, you're going to ruin your reputation. They're like, people are going to bring it up regardless. Like, you shouldn't address it. But I'm like, you guys are not in my shoes. Like, everywhere I go, any person that I collab with, like, it's always being brought up. Like, just let me speak my truth. Like, people are going to respect me more if I just sit here and tell them exactly what happened. Like, I fucked up. I lied on the internet. Like, I made a mistake. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, just let me hold myself accountable. And I think they were just looking at it more on like a business side. Of course. And I had like brand deals and contracts. And so once they told me no, I just remember I felt very disconnected from my team. And I was like, you know what? I think
it's time.
And I'm like, I don't even care if I have a team. I'm going to come out and I'm going to say it.
No matter what.
No matter what. Because like, I'm too grown like to not hold myself accountable. And I just think it's time, you know?
You control your own narrative.
Yeah. And so before I signed with my manager, I was like, hey, like, look, I have this baggage with me. I was like, I really need to let this go and I need to address this on the internet. Yes. And I was so scared for her to being like, oh, I don't want a client like that or whatever. And she completely respected it. She was like, I 100% think you should do that. Like, I'm here. And I was like, this is what I needed. I needed that support from a manager on the business side. And so I think now, you know, I am very blessed to be financially free to where if I didn't want to do social media, I don't have to, but I do it for fun now. And, you know, I have my foundation and stuff like that. So I think, you know, also my old team was thinking about it like, well, if you address this and you get canceled, you're not going to make any more money and you're going to be broke. And like, they were thinking about it to like a whole nother level. But I was like, look, I am very firm and secure within my message and what I'm going to say and how it's going to come out because like everybody lies.
Yeah.
It just so happened that I lied on the internet and like, again, like I am super regretful. I'm regretful to a certain extent because it also, I learned my lesson from it. I learned my lesson from it. I am so blunt now. I'm so honest.
Love that.
And I just literally have learned not to lie about absolutely anything. Like it's just easier.
And I think about at the time, again, like where you were at.
Yeah.
Like you were just starting your career. Yeah. And it was like those type of things were very shameful.
They were because BBLs were not a thing at all.
No one could ever get them. And now everybody and their moms has them.
It's like super... It
was like taboo at that time. Or not even taboo. It was just very like...
It was taboo. And I was 21 or 20. I don't even... 20 or 21, I don't remember. So I think, you know... when I was freshly, you know, everything's like kind of coming out. And if it were to come out that I had gotten BBL, the internet would have dragged me and I wouldn't have been able to handle the hate. And, you know, that's exactly why.
And then you were emotionally like as strong as you were now.
That's see, like now, like I'm not scared to talk about surgery or anything like that. And I actually do want to say.
What?
That I got another BBL.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I love that. How was it?
But I announced it on my OF. Literally,
okay, I gotta subscribe.
I announced it on my OF literally when I got it. Like I was like, oh, I got a new body for my, and I was so positive that it was gonna come out. And I was like, if it comes out, like it comes out, whatever. You know, like I'm not ashamed of it. And so it wasn't until like recently that people started to pick up that they were like, something looks different, like her butt looks more plump, and I'm like,
yeah,
like I got another one, but I don't think it's that big of a deal to where I need to go and make an announcement on social media. Like, oh my God, I got like. To the girls that have asked me DM, like, oh my God, who's your doctor? I replied back to them and I tell them like, yes. But then to the girls that are coming off so nasty and rude, and it's like, girl, if you were nice, I would have told you the doctor, but you don't have to be nasty about it. Like I'm super open and honest. Like I've talked about like my breast augmentation, stuff like that. Like I'm just an open book now.
Like you're free.
I am.
In all aspects.
I feel so free and I feel so at peace, and I've had to make peace with a lot of, you know, the mistakes that I've made. It's just, I feel like for influencers, some people look at us and they expect us to just be happy and be like just in the state of mind 24/7, and like we're gonna have some bad days and some days we're not going to want to talk or take a picture. Like I've had my days where, oh my God, like
I feel it because I have bad days too, where it's like I really hope I don't run into a fan or somebody today, because not that I'll be rude, but it's kind of like I'm not mentally there.
Yeah.
To have, and I'm very open. I'm very like, I will hug you. I'll like, yes, let's take a picture. Hi, how are you? But it's, if someone catches me on a bad day, it's kind of like, then that goes like everywhere. And
yeah.
and then they assume, and then it goes back to like, oh, I can't believe your mother raised you this way, or your mother wasn't like that, or your sibling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an assumption. It's like, no, like I'm human, you're human. We have bad days.
Yeah.
Which is totally normal, like any other person. And okay, so I wanted to ask right now that I was thinking about it, because you were talking about your younger self,
Yes.
like before. What was your childhood like, though? Like, and like what, like how you grew up in Mexico, right? Or you moved over here?
I came here when I was 1, so I was raised here.
Yes. Okay.
I was raised here. I've never talked about my childhood. I'm like, ugh.
No, we don't have to. It's okay. I was
No,
just
it's
like,
okay. Growing up, I was a very, very angry little girl. And like everybody, like my family knew that, but I was so angry because I was so confused. Both my mom and my dad were not that present in my childhood, and who raised me was my tia.
okay.
So I grew up thinking that her daughters were my sisters, and things just got very confusing growing up. And so I became so angry that my father and my mother were absent, and like every single time that I would want like affection, they both weren't there. And then that my tia wasn't really my mom. I was just so confused. I remember just being like so angry.
Yeah.
Being little, and I would like throw stuff, and I would throw tantrums, but that was the only way that I would get attention from like the adults around me.
Yeah.
So then I would lash out more, but I was super good in school, and I had all these good grades, and I was a teacher's pet. But at home, I was such a bad little girl because the only way I would get attention was when I would lash out. But I don't think it was until after I'm trying to think, because I feel like I didn't get to fix those issues in my childhood until after I went to therapy here in LA. So it took me such a long time
like to unravel everything and understand everything.
Yeah, because I didn't even ever, growing up, I didn't think I was like an angry little girl because I had abandonment issues. Like I just thought it was normal, I guess you could say. So when my therapist was like, well, because you had absent parents growing up, blah, 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 and then that's kind of where I like got to understand. And I remember everybody knows that I'm so close to my mom. Like she is my rock and she's my world. But my mom and I did not get close until after I graduated, after I moved to LA. Wow. I was never close to her. I never told her anything growing up. I didn't tell her I loved her enough when I was younger. I just think her way of showing love was like by buying me things. She's like, here's a toy, like shut up. So I was very like misheard and misunderstood growing up. So it wasn't until after I started going to therapy and I sat down with my mom and I told her like,
wow, that's beautiful.
It was such a beautiful moment. And I remember it happened in New York because we used to just bump heads so much. And I remember everybody around me would be like, you and your mom are always arguing and fighting. And I'm like, I don't know why. I couldn't understand why, but it was because I never talked to her about,
it was built up.
Yeah, it was built up. And I remember we were like on a family trip in New York, and we got into a really, really big argument, and she finally sat me down and she's like, what is your problem with me? She's like, why do you hate me so much? And I was like, I don't hate you. I was like, I hate the things that you did growing up. Like you were not there for me. And she is such a great mother now. I think like she got pregnant at 17. Yeah, so
she was young.
She was super young, and she felt like she got robbed of her teenage years. So she was always out and clubbing and stuff. And
You're the oldest?
I'm the only.
Oh, okay.
I'm the only child from her. So, once I got to understand that, it's also my mom's first time living life and being a mom, then I was like, oh my God, like I was so hard on her. But I think she was just misunderstood and I was misunderstood. So when we were able to sit down and talk our feelings out, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And after that, we got so close. I tell her everything. I literally talk to her like, I think 9 to 10 times a day on the phone.
Though. That's like, and it's like you wish you would have had it earlier. But now it's like, this is the right moment. Like it was designed and meant to happen.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. Because now that I'm grown, we're able to understand each other like on a different level.
It's like she was having a hard time probably growing up and raising someone as well.
Exactly. Especially like in like Hispanic culture. Like, I mean, I know that a lot of, you know, young Latinas get pregnant. It's very common in Hispanic culture. And a lot of my tias did too. So it kind of was like, you have to grow up at this age, but I don't think she was allowed to like have that teenage or childhood that she wanted. So I think she was trying to do that at the same time as raising me, and it just
that was my mom too. My sister, she had my sister at 15.
I was gonna ask, how was your relationship with your mom growing up?
My relationship with my mom, it was good. It wasn't. I don't want to say that she was absent, but she would work a lot.
Yeah.
So it felt absent. So I always depended on my sister. And then my dad was in and out of jail, so he wasn't really there. We would they were divorced. We would spend the weekends with him, and then he went to jail and all this other stuff. But when she passed away when I feel like we could have gotten close, because I was 15. And at that time, like, that's when, you know, my family was going through like some rumors, and like my sister and everything, where it's kind of like, okay, my sister had left the house, and it kind of left just me and her and my little brother. And it was nice because we would spend time together or whatever. But I wish I had that opportunity though, because now that I'm older, there's things that obviously my sister can't do, or my sisters, they can't do for me. Like, they can be a sister, and I've had to have that boundary with my oldest sister. Like, I need you to be my sister, not my mom. Yeah. You know? I think that I have to learn I want to be able to go and tell you things without being scared.
Or without her like lecturing you, or exactly. Like, I think that, do you feel like that line got blurred at some point where like it was like your sister was your mom at the same time, and then you had to like,
which was a problem for my mom. Whereas like I depended way too much on her. So, and I would love to have that opportunity now that I know therapy. I've been through therapy. I know who I am as a person, and I can understand my mom even more. Yeah. You know, because I know that she would have needed it too. I feel like everybody I think so everybody too. Needs therapy. Think so too. Like, if I can give that as a Christmas gift, I would, without offending anybody. But like, I think it's so beautiful.
I think it is too. And you know what? Some people really do get offended.
Yes.
When you offer like, I think you should go to therapy, they're like, I don't need that shit, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, but it genuinely helps you get to the core of your problems. Yes. And
it's not even to say that someone has a problem. It's just to understand
there we go.
Understand yourself.
Yeah.
Like, why you are the way you are. And I don't know if you like with your therapist, but I answer my own questions basically. Like, when I'm talking to her, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Actually,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know why I'm hiring you. Like, I'm answering my own answers.
You know what is so funny though? Because you don't realize it until you're sitting there, but it's because you're with a professional.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
So, because I had a friend being like, why would I go with the therapist if it's their job to sit there and listen? Like, what if they don't care? And I'm like, you won't understand it until you're sitting there and they're giving you actual professional, you know, feedback and honest opinion on your situation. You like, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I love therapy. I love it too. I think it's such a. I actually am going to my therapist after this.
Okay.
Yeah. At 5.
You're like, I don't know if I need it anymore, but no, but yeah, I honestly like, and I, my sister does it. She does life coaching. Jackie, she's also gone to therapy, and like, I want to be able. I wish everybody can like do it, so that everybody can be not aligned, but kind of just understand each other better. Where it's like, it's hard to explain what you've learned in therapy to someone that doesn't get it.
I feel like it would go in one ear and out the other. I've tried to tell like or give advice to my sisters, and then they just
they don't get it.
Yeah, they don't. But I mean,
we're growing, and they would
okay. To each their own, and
yes,
yeah.
Oh, I love you. Okay, we're gonna go on a quick break. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, you guys, welcome back. We are. This is such a good episode, Daisy. We're
literally just like.
I feel like we're very connected.
We're just having girl talk.
Yes.
I'm loving this episode.
I feel like we're connected, and I don't know. Again, it's like full circles for me, and like I don't know. I feel like we've always kind of been like some way attached because Emilio and like my sister.
Oh my god!
All that
oh my god!
stuff.
Wait, can we talk about
Yes.
that? I think that is so crazy.
Right?
So I met him when I first moved here. I've been knowing him for years. I think I've been knowing Emilio for 7 years. I've known him for such a long time. He's been knowing me since I was a little baby. So when I saw him with your sister, I was like, I am loving this and I'm shipping it. And I literally remember telling everybody, I was like, oh my God, I hope they get married. And then I saw the engagement. I was like,
I know. Now they're engaged, they're in love, and being,
for them.
But yeah, I was like, that's so crazy. Small world. He knows everybody too, though.
He knows everybody. He does. He's such a good person, though.
No, he's a good guy. But on a lighter note, I want to talk about your DACA Foundation.
Oh my God.
Because you are the DACA queen. And I feel like a lot of people should know, but if they don't know, you have
a foundation.
Yes, you have a foundation. You were here on DACA, right?
Yes.
So tell me about it. How did it start? What inspired you? All that good stuff.
So, like I said in the beginning of the year when I switched teams, she had me write out, what are your goals? And I remember telling her, I was like, I don't know exactly what foundation I want to start. I was like, but I want to start a foundation to give back to my community. And she was like, well, you're going to have to really sit down and like think about what exactly you want to. And I was like, you know what, you're right. So and literally right after that phone call, I called her and I was like, I already know. I was like, it's going to be for the dreamers, for DACA recipients. Like that is something that I'm very passionate about. And unfortunately, the program did close. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a big but a small community of us DACA dreamers that are in the program. And this idea came to mind because I have a cousin who, it's just me and her that are under DACA, and she has kids. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, oh my God, like I'm dreading, it about to expire. Like I'm dreading that it's about to expire. And I was like, why? And she's like, because like, if you think about it, like it's a lot of money, and she does have a very good job. So she's like financially stable. Mm-hmm. But she was like, just imagine like the people that, have to choose between being able to feed their kids or paying for their DACA or paying the bills or DACA. And I was like, oh my God, like I would hate to be in that position. And so that kind of like clicked in me. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to take away that stress and that weight off of someone. And I want to give them financial support and pay for their renewal. And so once I told, my team the idea, they were like, okay, let's do it. We got a really good team behind it. And then I remember telling people that I was launching this foundation and nobody was taking it serious. And everybody was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, and I feel like, not that I was getting shut down, but I was like so passionate and excited about it. And everybody was just kind of seeing like, oh, like, like you've launched so many things. Like this is just but I was like, I hold this so close to my heart. And I was like, I feel that it's going to make a really big impact. And I remember another reason why I wanted to start the foundation was because I was thinking, like, I just think so much when I'm by myself. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, Daisy, if you were to die tomorrow, do you think that you would be happy with what you've done in your life on earth? And I was like, no. I was like, I haven't made an impact. I'm like, what? I posted content on social media? Like, that's it? Like, did I impact people's life? Did I make a positive change? Like, did I help people out? And once I started to like really question, what have I done with my platform? I was like, I need to do something, that will really make a big impact on people's lives. And so when the foundation launched, at first, my manager was like, how many applications do you think we should like, have it open for? And I was like, honestly, like maybe just like 1,000. Like, I don't think we're gonna get more than 1,000. And then we hit 1,000 within not even an hour. And I was like, holy crap. And so then we extended to 5,000. And then we ended up getting a total of 10,000 applications. And that is
good.
I was so happy. Thank you. I was so happy. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that like, it reached this many people. And like, I was so overwhelmed with joy. And I remember I was just crying and crying because I was so happy that, I was going to help out so many people. And now that I get like updates, they're like, Daisy, like I got my new DACA in and like my new card. And I also decided to, there's some dreamers out there that already paid for their DACA renewal. So they're like, hey, like I want to apply for Advanced Pro, which is how I was able to visit Mexico. So they're like, would you be able to pay for like my lawyer fees for Advanced? And I was like, of course. So now, you know, if you're somebody that's listening or watching this, if you are under DACA and you want to apply for Advanced Pro, that's something that I also help with financially.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we've been able to help out a lot of people. And
what are the like requirements? Is there any like type of rules or what like for you
it's
to
super
be accepted, or I guess
it's super easy. I have the Daisy DACA Foundation.org. You go on the website and you just fill out a couple of questions. You just need, you know, your ID, and you need proof that you have DACA and that it hasn't expired, because unfortunately once it expires you are completely kicked off and you can no longer join. And so this is only available for people that are still in the program that need help financially to cover the cost of that. But you just need to submit those 2 forms and just the reason why you think, you know, you should be a part of, or why you should be chosen for the foundation. And I'm such a hands-on person with everything that I do in my life, so I'm literally going through the applications.
Wow.
Some people, and I feel like they don't understand that it does take a long time, because then I'm having to sort, and it's a very small team. It's like 5 of us. Yeah, it's like a team of 5. So we're going through applications and we're having to, you know, separate who submitted the right paperwork and who didn't. And, you know, it's very tedious, but I love it. And each month we get to select a few people. Sometimes I choose more people, you know, if I had a really good month with my finances, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to help out more people. And so it's just little old me doing it. I think in the future, thank you. I think in the future I want to like have investors and have it be like a really big thing. And I wanted for 2024, I definitely wanted to have like a bigger presence, and I want to, you know, have an event where like, let's say I do like a gala or something, and it's like you buy a ticket and, you know, that money goes
or whatever.
Yeah. And so I think I can help out more people if I do an event like that. But I'm working towards that. So the foundation is here to stay as long as I'm alive. So
That's good.
I'm very happy with the foundation. I think I found a new passion, because now I don't ever think about, like, everybody was asking me like, Daisy, what are you going to be for Halloween? Blah, blah, blah. And usually I would spend so much money on my Halloween costumes, and I'm like, I'm not doing Halloween this year. All that money is going towards my foundation. I love that my priorities change. They're always changing, but, you know, for the better. And I think I found my new passion is helping out people.
Do you feel like it like completed a part of you?
100%. I think being a Libra, we you know, rule the scales. And even like Kim Kardashian being into law and stuff like that, I think it's in our nature to want to find balance and to help. So it definitely, I think if I were to die tomorrow, I'd be happy. I'd be so happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I set myself free, and I've made at least some type of impact in my community, so I can die happy. I mean, well, I still want to get married, but I'm like, I want kids.
Would you want to get married? Yeah.
I'm trying.
What is like the, I don't want to say timeline, but you know, what's your idea? What does it look like for you?
Honestly, it's because like everyone's always telling me like, you can get this if you get married, but I'm like, I'm such a romantic and I'm such a hopeless romantic that if I get married, it's because I'm in love and I want my fairy tale wedding. And so I'm not trying to rush it at all. And I definitely want to get married first, travel the world, and then have kids. Kids is like on the last.
How old are you? You're 26?
I'm 26.
26, yeah. 26 too. That's fine.
Basically
that's
30.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I don't like talking about it. I even had to like do the calculator math. I'm like, am I really 26? Like, please.
I can't believe we're 26.
Dude. And it's going by too fast.
It's going by so fast. My mom told me, she's like, cuando cumplas los 21 años, like it passes by like this. And I'm like, you're so right.
But everyone says that 30s is like the new 20s and it's everything.
What? Me too. I'm kind of excited to enter my dirty 30s.
Yes.
You want to know? I've said this on my podcast. You know why they call it the dirty 30s?
Why?
Because your body and women's bodies, it releases more hormones, so you can get pregnant, so you're hornier when you're That's why you call it your dirty 30.
Let's turn 30 tomorrow. I'm just kidding.
Oh
no, but yeah, it's like I want to enjoy what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a rush.
Yeah,
there's no rush. Like, okay, we're going to go on a quick break and then we're going to come right back in, okay? All right, you guys, welcome back. We have the gorgeous Daisy Marquez. Okay, so what's like your idea? Like, not your idea, but like your standards for a guy. If you're, because are you looking or you're not looking, or you're kind of just like there?
Honestly, I'm not looking, but if somebody comes my way and they ask me on a date and I'm interested, then I'll say yes, because you just never know. But I think what I look for in a guy, I really interrogate a guy when I first go on a date. I'm like, what is your relationship with your mom? Do you have any siblings? What was your relationship like with your ex?
What's your social security?
I'm like, what's in your bank account? But I think because of therapy and with my healing journey and everything, I want to get to know what your environment is like, because that's going to dictate the type of environment that you're going to have
like
me
what
in.
kind of
like,
baggage are you carrying as well? Or like, have you been through?
Yeah, like I went on a date with this guy and he was talking really bad about his mom, and I was like, oh no, red flag right there. But what I look for in a guy is just for him to be respectful, loyal, and family oriented, and just kind. I think kindness is what I mostly look for. And just romantic.
Yeah.
I'm like, and the list goes on. Right? You know what's so crazy though? My mom told me, she's like, it's because she's so old school, but she was like, you have too many standards. She's like, you're never going to find a guy. She's like, you need to look. And I was like,
we can find it.
I'm like, no, I'm not lowering my standards for anyone. I'm like, there is somebody out there that will fit my standards. And, you know, that's why I'm not in a rush to date anyone. I mean, I've had like pretendientes like here and there, but nothing
not like
serious.
worth.
No, not worth like introducing to like my family or anything like that.
Yeah, because once it like takes it to the family,
it's like then they will bring them up, and then Christmas comes
How
around.
Are
they're like,
they?
What happened to this guy?
Yes,
like,
no.
Yeah, no.
No.
I found some cute guys on Chispa.
You like it?
I actually do.
I did. Okay, I did Chispa, but maybe that's just me, and I don't know. Maybe LA's just weird though.
But I found most of my connections in LA.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Like nobody knows this, but I was literally on set for shooting the commercial for Chispa, and the cutest guy popped up, and I was like, oh my God. And I slid in his DMs and we matched, but he left me on red.
No. He left you on red?
You will be surprised, because and I don't know, I guess it's just men, but they're always asking me like, I bet you have a lot of guys in your DMs.
Oh my God.
I promise you, I don't.
I don't.
I swear to God, it's mostly like girls asking me about makeup, or like, hey, what was the link to this? And I've had some very interesting people in my DMs, but
it's never like I'm like talking to a bunch of guys or nothing.
Yeah, no. I just don't have the energy to entertain that many people. Like the younger me definitely had it in her, but I'm just
like right now,
no.
It's just the energy's too precious.
Yeah.
It's too precious. It's too valuable.
What is your timeline?
My timeline?
Yeah.
Honestly, look, if I'm being really, really honest, and I always say this, I don't know if I want to get married.
Really?
I'm fine and content if we live together and I have a ring on my finger.
Oh my God, wait, actually, you know what? You're so right. I saw somebody else talking about this, how like marriage doesn't really, like it's just a paper.
Yes. And it's like, why would I need to? You know what I mean? Like,
so right.
Like, give me a ring. We'll live together. I'll do all the wifey things. You do all the hubby things. That's
we
totally
don't
fine.
need to
we don't need to have that title.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and maybe that's just I don't want to say my trauma speaking, because I don't know. Like, it doesn't attract me. Like, I'm not a girl that wants to get married.
You know what? I'm like that, but about kids.
Yeah.
I literally, and I had to sit down with my mom and tell her like, hey, like, would you be disappointed if I don't have kids, because I am her only child?
Yeah.
And she's always asking me. And she just kind of looked at me. She's like, I just want you to be happy, because she knows that I've been through a lot. And I was like, okay. I was like, because I know that there's some women out there that, you know, can't wait to be a mom and have kids. And like, oh my God, like I'm in a group chat with Laura and Brie. And they're like, oh, that baby smell. And I'm like, the baby smell? Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I'm pretty sure I get what they're talking about, but I'm like, I don't have that desire in me to have kids. And I just think about waking up and having to devote my life to another human being. Like, I just don't see myself doing that. And I told my mom, and she's like, I just want you to be happy. And I was like, okay. I was like, what about, I have thought about adopting.
Me too.
I've thought about adoption because I'm like, okay, I don't want to go through the whole baby newborn stage. I'm like, and I feel like I would be able to, I want to give another person a better life.
I say it too. I say it all the time. I'm like, and I, because I grew up like without my parents for such a long time, I'm like, I don't want anyone to feel that.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a reason why they were born and given away. And, you know, it's obviously a sad situation. So why not make it happy for somebody?
Yeah.
And then I think about, like, oh, like, and what if someone asked me, like, what if your man wants to have his own maybe? And I'm like, okay, but let me adopt first. Maybe.
I said the same thing because everybody around me was like, well, like, what if the right person comes and you do want to have his children? I was like, okay, well, if that happens, then that can happen. But like right now,
it's like,
I'm not even thinking about kids. It's like so far down in my list of like things that I want to do in life.
I'm happy being a Thea. I'm happy like loving them, giving them the world.
Yeah.
Like, but I like my space. I like waking up a little late sometimes. I love making my own breakfast.
You know what I will say though?
What?
And everybody around me tells me that like this is really bad.
What? Scared.
No. Because I think because I just been single for such a long time that I don't see myself sharing the same bed with.
Really?
I don't. And my friends were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, like if I have a boyfriend, like I want to live in the same house with him. He has his own room and I have my own room. And they were like, that can't. And I'm like, I'm just.
That's
like
interesting.
I don't know. Like if I have like my sister stayed over for a whole week. And after like a couple of days, I was like, I'm like, hey, like I have a guest room upstairs. Like I just got so used to just
being alone
that I'm like, oh my God. Like, I mean, maybe it'll change if I really am in love, but.
Yeah, he's got to sweep you off your feet.
He better sweep me off my feet.
Like carry you. That's it.
Girl, you better,
up in the sky.
You better take me up there with a unicorn or something.
Okay, can we talk about your OnlyFans?
Yeah.
I love it. I am like, I mean, I don't subscribe, but I love like everything that you do regarding it. And you're so confident about it. And honestly, you truly inspired me to really want to do it.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, I wanted to. I'm like, dude, like, why not? I post the same thing. We talked about it at Karen's wedding. Like, we post the same thing on Instagram.
It's because, look, and to anyone listening to this, I literally was posting lingerie pictures on the internet for free. Yeah. And I had a friend of mine who owns an agency being like, Daisy, you can be making so much money posting these on the platform.
Yeah.
You know, instead of posting it for another brand and then posting it for free. And I was like, no, because of the stigma that it has around it.
Yes, of course.
Everybody around you will judge you or say that it's shameful. But then once I really got to, because I'm like, okay, let me just explore the platform. Obviously, there's like tiers.
Different ones, yes.
There's people on there that literally, they almost use it as like a diary, a vlog channel. Like you can use that platform for whatever. It's just more intimate. And it's literally like keeping up with Jenicka or keeping up with Daisy. And you're paying to see like this very intimate side of you. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm posting this content on social media for free, I might as well post it on that platform and make money off of it. Like,
absolutely.
Am I doing anything like super crazy on there? No. Am I being provocative and sexy and confident? Fuck yeah. Like I have always been, and everybody in my circle knows that I'm a very, not sexual, I guess you could say a little bit sexual. I'm just a very like, I'm very open with my sexuality. Yes. I'm very comfortable. I'm very sexy. And I always try to empower even like my cousin and my sisters. I'm like, once you, and I used to be so insecure. And I don't know, something, I think I realized that I was being so mean to myself. And I would call myself ugly and all these mean things. And I'm like, Daisy, you have to be your number one fan. So once I started to rewire my brain and start complimenting myself and hyping myself up, that is how I was able to gain confidence. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like when you're confident, nobody can take that away from you. You can't even buy confidence. You get me? Like you just have to own it. And if you think that you were the baddest bitch out there, then you were the baddest bitch out there. And so I think lingerie and being comfortable in you know my sexuality has made me even more confident.
Love it.
And I love being in lingerie. I love being sexy and I love being a little bit provocative. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having that side because we are women, you know? Like we can be sexy and powerful and we can also be a businesswoman and have a foundation.
All of it together.
You can do whatever you want. Like don't let society make you feel like because you are this, you can't be that.
Yes.
I want to try to achieve anything that my mind thinks of. But
you're happy. You love
I'm
it.
happy.
You
I mean,
enjoy
it's
doing
going
it.
well. Like I was talking to this guy friend of mine. And he's like, I think if you're a girl in 2024 and you're not doing OF, like why aren't you doing it? Because, and it's so crazy now because I have this friend that I'm like, I have this friend and this friend. But there's this girlfriend of mine that she would post the most beautiful like Pinterest pictures in lingerie. And I'm like, oh my God, if you were to post this on OF, you would be making so much money. And I'm never going to pressure anyone into doing anything, you know, but I just told her and I showed her, you know, the income and she was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, girl, you can be making money off of it. And so now she's doing it and she's making bank.
Dude.
And I'm like, girl, I'm so happy for you. She's like moving. She got a house. And I'm like, yes, like I love that for you. So
I love it. Well, I'm going to text you. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to see if you guys see it there. Subscribe to both. A 2-in-1 package over here. Okay, so what's next for you? What's next for Daisy? Like career-wise, what are you looking forward to? Is there any other goals that you may have? Or now that the new year started, like what are you feeling? Like where's your mindset at right now?
I think right now one of my main priorities, there's 2 projects that I can't fully talk about yet.
Okay.
They're in the works. But I think just aside from those 2 projects that are going to come out, is focusing on my podcast. And like I said, my foundation, I just want it to be, I see it as something bigger. I see it as like something that even if I were to pass away, you know, my sisters can. Yeah. I see it as kind of just having a very long, I see it, what's that word?
The longevity?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I was even thinking about moving to Miami. Whenever you said that, I was like, yes, just because like I've been in Texas already about to be 4 years.
The energy is different over there.
It's just, I think it was good when I was trying to, you know, find myself and like it's very quiet over there, you know. But I just think that mentally I'm strong now, and I think I'm just ready for a new chapter. And I was thinking, I'm like, I already did LA, you know, Texas, and I'm like, I think I need to try a new environment, tropical beach. Yes. And every time I go to Miami, there's all these hot guys.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of Hispanic.
Agree. I'm convinced that the love of my life lives over there.
I'm honestly convinced that the love of my life is in Europe, but I'll wait for that. But I think
stop in Miami.
I know. I think I might move to Miami for just a couple months, see if I like it, try it out.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm very stable right now. Yeah. So I'm just gonna see kind of what my intuition tells me. So.
I love it. I'm very happy for you. I'm genuinely happy.
Thank you so much.
Like I see your face and I see peace.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you don't have any, like if you don't, I know you have peace. Let's just leave it at that. But I could see it, and it's different when you feel it and you see it on somebody. And I really I've always wanted to tell you, like, whatever you're feeling or whatever the moment that you went through, like, God has never left your side. And I guarantee you that he won't. And like, you are destined to be here to tell your story and to be able to live the life that you are truly living right now, that you deserve. Like, everything that you went through has come for this moment, like happened for this time in your life. And I don't think that I don't know. I mean it when I say it, Daisy, like, I've been praying for you every time that I've seen you in person, where I'm just like, I pray God blesses her and protects her heart, her spiritually. And it's like I'm honored to know you and your story now and understand you as a person better, and to see like, wow, like, God, you're real. And it's really truly full circle. And I will say it, like, I hope God continues to bless you, and he's going to reward you in every single way.
Thank you so much.
It's because I had to say, I'm like, you're doing so much, even with the foundation, like the way you take care of your mom and your family, like, it's going to come back to you in another form or way that's going to bring you so much happiness.
Thank you.
And it's going to probably feel like, oh my God, like, I don't like, what is this? And it's like, no, because you've done all this and you went through this, it's going to come back twice as much for you.
It just felt like I had my guardian angel talk to me and give me the reassurance that I needed, because I genuinely was questioning myself so much on the way over here. I was like, I wore makeup specifically so I wouldn't cry. You still made me cry. But this is exactly what I need. And I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be vulnerable and be comfortable and come on here on, your podcast and just sharing my story. And I'm just very thankful. And I just can't wait for our beautiful friendship to blossom.
Of course. You can come back anytime. I'll go over there with you. We'll go do yours. We'll have girl talk and just whatever. You have a friend. I'm more than happy to be your friend and to really like listen to you. I feel like we understand each other very easily. So what are your big three? I want to know.
Wait, what are your big three first?
No.
Okay, so I'm a Libra.
Okay.
My rising is a Sag, which is why I'm like very free and just out there. And my moon's in Cancer.
What? Yeah. Okay, I'm a Libra.
Yeah.
My moon is in Scorpio.
Oh.
And I'm a Sag rising.
We both have water moon.
Yeah.
Wait.
Whatever, but
yeah, Scorpio is water and oh my God, Jenicka.
Yes.
You're also a rising Sag?
Yes.
Is that why we don't want to get married?
We're like, is that our problem?
We just want to be free. You know, Sagittarius is the guy with half horse. And
yes,
how horses are very free.
Yes.
So we hate to feel like smothered and
controlled and whatever.
And we like to feel free.
Love to know the problem.
I'm like, me too. No. I love that.
Yes.
God.
That's crazy. Wow. Well, you're September, Libra?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You're in October.
I'm on October. I'm the 3rd. Oh, I love it. We're just connecting. But all right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Please follow Miss Gorgeous Daisy Marquez. Please subscribe. Please apply for her DACA Foundation if you guys need it. It's an amazing foundation. If you really, truly need it, please apply. Make sure you guys follow her podcast. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And